good afternoon again. We had quite a frost last night. In fact, we've been having a mild frost almost every day for weeks now with this fine weather. Last night was really hard. I was out early, everything was white. I've just been introduced to a song, apparently, where the point is made that it's only through being broken that the light can get in. Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we tend to have a very negative attitude towards our adversities. As, for example, with this coronavirus, we sort of treat it as an enemy to be beaten at all costs. In fact, you know, the political slogan is, let's beat coronavirus. And it makes me almost think, well, poor little virus, what's it done wrong to have to face such aggression? Only doing its work after all. Anyway, that's perhaps being a bit flippant. But there is an upside to our human misfortunes. It's extraordinary how, when one looks back on a long life, as I do, how really, it's really through the most difficult times of my life that I realized I've developed most. It really is through our sufferings, and believe me, my friends, I've been through many rough passages in my life, both physical and mental. And even though they're awful at the time, afterwards you really see that these are the things that make us grow. But I should say grow up. And one of the great, almost perhaps the greatest advantage in being put down in life is that one may draw a little bit nearer the blessed state of humility. I've often used an analogy in these videos of a cup. Now, if I had a cup in my hand and I turned it that way, upside down, even this lovely sunshine today couldn't get in, could it? The inside of the cup would remain in darkness. Now, if the cup was turned that way up, the light can shine in, doesn't it? Rather like that song, it's only when we're broken that the light can get in. When something in the structure of our lives is cracked and the life can get in. Well, why can't it get in our ordinary days? Because in our ordinary days, and you've only just got to observe people in the street to see how we live in a little bubble of self-satisfaction called me and my life, when everything is going according to plan. I've got the right man or the right woman, I've got the right income, the right job, etc., etc. And don't we spend most of our lives trying to get this structure according to our liking? And, you know, it creates a husk, doesn't it? A shell around us, a shell of I'm okay, I'm all right, Jack. And we get stuck there. Very often we literally just get stuck until something comes along to break it open. And often that requires quite a shock. What is there really to fear in this life? Well, we always fear the destruction of the ego. don't we? The destruction of our separate existence, our me. And if we can acquire some confidence that as we progress through life, we are accompanied by an invisible friend, a presence that doesn't speak to us, that doesn't intrude, it doesn't try to control us, but it's just always there. Just as here before the camera, I'm sitting surrounded by this invisible presence, this stillness, which if I stop talking for a moment, you can see. Just look in my eyes and you'll see a light there. And that light has no weight whatsoever, does it? It doesn't judge, it doesn't demand anything. It just shines. And this is in you as well. And is totally confident that whatever happens to the flesh, this is eternal, unshakable, unchanging. And this is what I am. I am this light, spending a few years in a mortal body called John Butler, which will soon die and go back to earth. And this light will go back to its origin. I wonder if you know what quicksilver is. Well, maybe it's an old-fashioned word. It actually refers to Mercury. When we were children, long before they discovered mercury was poisonous and a dangerous game for children to play with, we used to have a bubble of mercury. And we used to drop this on a plate or something, and it would break into a million fragments. And then if you rolled it about, they'd all go back together again into the same ball. And my mother always used to think that was a marvellous example of what happens when we die. We're all just these separate little, tiny little sort of bubblets, really, of mercury. And then we all go back into the one big ball, and you'd never know, we'd ever be anything different. We all, this little different bubble, different little candles of light, which we all are in our own way, some shine brighter than others. We're all just part of the great big light. And there's the sun, isn't there? And beyond the sun there is, whether you believe it or not, an even greater light that we call God, the light of spirit. And we're all just little bits of that. So we've nothing to fear at all, my dears, because once we're released from this, our imprisonment in this mortal flesh, we just go home again. You see, when we're broken, the cracks appear and that bigger light can shine in. And so we learn gradually, step by step, not to fear the destruction of this shell of me, until really, if we get enough good knocks in this life, it'll be so broken into little bits that there's hardly any cohesion left in it, and we'll be only too willing to lay it down and go home. Just like I'm going to stop talking all this silly nonsense now and shut up and let you feel this silence. This silence which is pure joy, isn't it? Pure joy, pure love, pure mercy. Because it doesn't condemn or criticize anything. Even the little bugs and the viruses that have their humble work to do in this world. All things happen for the best to those that love God. Amen. God bless you, my dears. Until another day.